It's your girl DJ Miss Eclectic, Wiki, and you're checking out the Mixtape podcast. It's your girl DJ Miss Eclectic, and you're tuned into the Mixtape show. Y'all, I have a very special guest this evening. I'm super excited because she is super dope. Y'all, she's an award-winning entrepreneur, hip-hop artist. I promise y'all, one of the dopest lyricists. I got AI, the Anomaly. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. You got the sun shining. Look like you riding life.
Yes. And Yonkers right now, like I said, it's a beautiful day as well. So
absolutely.
It's really good out here.
Absolutely. I'm in the ATL area and it's beautiful here as well. I just came back from Texas though. That sun in Texas is, I'm like, Lord, I got to get my life right because this is not going to be my eternity. You understand?
Tough. It's definitely tough. You know, I'm used to cold.
Oh, yes.
You know, right. Very, very frigid.
Yes. Y'all have that extra cold. Okay. Y'all got right. That. Y'all must have some thick skin because I can't do it. I'm outside. I said, that New York wind hits different.
It does.
Yeah. 60 degrees in Texas is not 60 degrees in New York. Man, so I literally just saw you. Well, recently I just saw you on the Super Bowl Gospel Fest Cypher. Let me tell you this, you killed it. Man, how was that experience? You. Man, you were Wade, Lecrae, so many dope artists. How was that?
It was dope. Really, you know, hanging with everybody. You know how you see everybody through social media. Yeah. You're not really able to get a good sense of people so far away in a distance. So it was cool to be in the same space and kind of, you know, just get to know people in a different way. And everybody it was dope. It was really dope.
Absolutely. I know it had to be good to be on stage too, because the pandemic and all that. I know y'all didn't really have a live audience, but just to be on stage and the camaraderie with everybody, it had to be dope.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome, man. I absolutely loved it. So, I mean, pretty much you're a phenomenal woman, straight up. You're an entrepreneur. You're all of the above. I mean, you're just using all the gifts that God has given you. But man, let's start with I know you started with poetry, but how did you work into rapping? Let us know your story.
So as far as poetry to rap, I guess it depends on the situation, right? I grew up around, you know, on the east side of Buffalo. My cousins and everybody, we were all listening to hip hop. I love the art of writing. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. That's what I fell in love with first. And just this idea of creating a story that is about me, but I was able to hide behind the characters that I created. I enjoyed that. Coming from a place in which, you know, I was told I was emotionally handicapped due to the situations that I grew up in, you know, losing my mother to drugs and just dealing with some traumas in the beginning of our lives, me, my sister, my brother. We were already labeled failure to thrive or what have you. And there was this one counselor who gave me a pen and said, you know, write down your emotions. You can draw, you can write words and things like that. And I just fell in love with that. And kind of piecing words together. And then naturally, I think because I love music, you know, it started to trickle into hip hop because what rap is rhythm and poetry. So It's just, you know, poetry with rhythmical movement. So it just made sense.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. Poetry and hip hop actually go together. Well, I say poetry and real lyricism. I'll put that.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Right.
And with you definitely got some real lyricism. Like, I think one of the first songs I heard you was like sipping my tea. I was like, okay. I was like, little black girl. I was like, yes.
Yes, exactly. It was very important.
Absolutely.
It was very important. And that's my whole thing. Like just trying to create vibes that, in my opinion, I can connect to as a woman, you know, like, you know, I used to dip into the streets. I used to have a whole crazy, you know, choices and decisions that I used to make. But then when I made a conscious decision to live a different lifestyle, like my situations changed. And so I want music that's going to reflect what season I'm in a sense. You know what I mean? As an entrepreneur, as a mom, as a wife, like I need music I can ride around with and feel like empowered. like truly
Absolutely.
empowered. So it's like my thing. I just want to create music that's going to really do something to people internally and motivate individuals as well.
Absolutely, and I believe it does because your lyrics are they're very transparent as well. I love them. It's this, you could be male, female, whatever, like you said, whatever situation. And I think sometimes in music, especially if you go like in the gospel, Christian, I guess you could say Christian hip hop industry as well, we kind of miss we got like the young people, we got like the live hip hop where we lit and all that, and then you have, you go to your old gospel, but sometimes it's just the grown ups who are out of college, who are living life, who have real bills, real issues, and we just want to hear some life music, so, I mean, that's what your music feels like to me. Definitely a Christ base, but it's just life music that anybody can relate to, and that's what I love about your, like, just the whole flow.
I'm glad that's what you're getting from it, and that's what I wanted. So I guess I'm on target.
Yeah, you on target. Let me tell you, definitely on my target.
Thanks.
So with the story, I mean, you being in, I know it's been a few years, but still congratulations on being the first lady of God Over Money. But how did that come about? Like, how did you and Bizzle connect?
Man, so in my city in Buffalo, my pastor is really an advocate for Christian hip hop. And we had this process in which we would bring different Christian hip hop artists to Buffalo so that the community could get to know that realm or that genre. So of the artists, obviously, we had to bring Bizzle to Buffalo. And then, over time, we've brought everybody from GOM, a lot of different, and I'm talking about artists from all kinds of scopes. Like Jason has been there. Shoot, here I go naming names. I ain't gonna remember all these names.
I hear you.
Let me skip past that. But we brought Bizzle in years and years ago, and so that's my first introduction as far as in the same space. But we were always like GOM fans because of their ability to just be unapologetically Christian in their lyrics, but dope at the same time. Because some music is just like, it's not kicking it. This is not it.
Oh, you're right.
With GOM, it was like, yo, this is definitely like really solid, dope music production, and they really rapping. They're not playing. They putting the lyrics together. I think GOM has to be one of the labels that has the most like true lyricist. Like I'd go out and be very confident to say that they have some really good, strong lyricists.
Yeah, and I agree.
But over time, like I sent music to him to get his opinion. He had hit me back and was like, yeah, man, this is good. I sent him another song. He didn't hit me back. So I was like, this must not be good.
It ain't meant to be, Lord. Like,
but it was more so I respected his pen. And I respected all of their pens. So I over time, the relationship built. Like, those are my big brothers. And I just respected them for, the lifestyle that they live and also the pen game that they have. So it was never like, I want to be part of GOM. It was more so like, I respect y'all and I want y'all feedback. Yeah. And over time, it just it just made sense,
That's dope, man. That's dope. And your pen is ridiculous too. So you fit right in.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that your pastor was like an advocate for CHH. And sometimes like for CHH, I feel like CHH is kind of in its own lane, like with its own fan base. They've got like a significant fan base. But how do you think that also plays in the church? Because some churches still aren't even with CHH. But at the same time, we're at a state of church right now where this is like the most time when most people are not in church. Like when I was growing up, you didn't have a choice. Whether you went out on Saturday night, you were going to be at church on Sunday morning. So, but the times have absolutely changed. So how do you feel like CHH is playing a role in the church right about now?
I agree with you. There's a lot of churches that are just not open to the idea of Christian hip hop, which is funny because that's a whole nother conversation, because I know some churches that are not too down for Christian hip hop, but they'll bring a hip hop artist to the church.
Okay. You be like, so you just not gonna name it?
Right. So we just gonna bring Bow Wow to the church.
You're right. Well, he was a Christian growing up,
to talk to the youth, to bring them in, to draw them in. But yeah, I think that I kind of get the sentiment and people having an understanding or an ideology or a perspective of hip hop itself because of what has been done throughout hip hop. But I think what happens is without the understanding and the education of what hip hop truly is, the culture, because hip hop is not just rap. There's 5 elements to it. So you know what I mean? So without having that background or understanding, like you're just not going to understand the significance and how you can truly talk about so many different topics in rap and that it can be beneficial to the congregation.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's like a big issue when it comes to churches. They think about rap in a certain situation. And a lot of churches don't look at rap as redeemable, but everything's redeemable. You know what I'm saying? Everything is the foundation of hip hop at its core was to uplift throughout the elements, you know? So rap was supposed to be this opportunity to speak and to tell stories, to share stories, to uplift, to encourage, or what have you. And so if people will understand the background and the history of it, maybe they will be more prone to be open to allowing it within the church. The other thing is they need to stop with, let's bring Christian hip hop into the church to draw young people. No, this is for the old people too. This is for the women. This is for the men. This is for the married folk, for the single folks. This is for anyone. There's different artists that can touch different generations. It's not just hip hop itself is not just for youth ministry.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I went on a tangent there. But overall, I think that's one of the biggest issues, not really understanding the foundation and the fact that music itself can be redeemable.
Absolutely. No, you absolutely said something there. It's a whole culture. You literally just said something there. We just skipped that. And as I call them senior saints, some of the senior saints like hip hop too. They still listen to some old school hip hop in their car.
Listen,
so
they know.
Don't act like you didn't grow up on it.
Like are you married?
No, I'm not. I'm praying for him,
but you know some, you know some married folk though, right?
Absolutely.
You know good and well they're not getting jiggy with some Fred Hammond.
No, they not. You know,
they listening to some Tank.
Yes,
or whatever else.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. Absolutely. Jesus ain't being a fence around the bed. No. You know what I'm saying. You know what I mean. So we have to think like,
come on.
Let's be honest with ourselves and understand like music moves. You know, like there's music for all types of situations, emotions, or what have you. It's life music.
Yes.
And so think about it as such. Like you can have, you know, if we get creative, if you wanted to really draw people in, let's say you had a women's ministry, you wanted women to come together, you can have an artist come in and open up that situation. Like a woman like a lady who does hip hop within the Christian space, have her open up and talk about some issues and topics that women, that is important to women. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we need to think about it differently and how to utilize it in certain spaces and not just for, oh yeah, we're going to bring a Christian hip hop artist in so we can get the youth in. Like,
yes.
And then get the youth in, and then what? So and we then, had the concert and y'all don't have anything set up so that they can keep coming.
Yeah, exactly. Because youth going to grow up.
Yeah. Like, oh, that concert was fun. I'm finna go out to the club and go have a good time with my friends now. Like,
thank you. Yeah, it's a whole. We need like that, and I think that's just gonna come along with conversation. Like, we need to have more conversations with the church, with the people within the church. I mean, you know, it's just got to be a conversation. Hell, you just cannot hold on to those old strategies. Yes, education is key. Absolutely. Educating yourself on hip hop and what it actually is. And I get it. They're tainted from what's on TV or what we see in modern culture and modern trends. But like you said, you got to go to the core of hip hop. And you in New York, so you at the, at the foundation of it. So you already.
That's right.
Yeah. So no, what you said you went on a tangent, but no, but that was a word. And hopefully somebody's gonna hear that word and take it back to their pastor.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm a church kid, so I already know. So, like, with you being a woman in this game, and even though I mean, women are coming up. Like, I'm one of few, actually, like one or two DJ that's a female gospel DJ, but they're like still in this game. It's still male dominated. Like, have you gone through some
Yeah.
challenges that have just gone against you just because you're a woman who's doing hip hop or a woman who's doing Christian hip hop?
Man, in life, period.
Come on.
There's going to be opposition and barriers and boundaries because I'm a woman. Yo, as a I get, yeah, a CEO of my
Yep.
company, right? I deal with it all the time. I'll walk into a space and, head up, confident. I'm short too, so
I
that
already
adds
know.
to it.
Shout out to the
And I
short
look
people.
young, so I walk into a space and a lot of times I'm not I'm not approached with that respect, if you will. There's a lot of times I deal with condescending, I'm finding myself in these condescending conversations with different people, or how much can you know, or things like that. And I'm talking about just life,
In general, yep.
So the thing is, like, that does bother me because it's like, yo, respect this. Like, I've been doing the work that I do, I've been doing it for a long time, as far as within the creative sector, video productions, photography, just creative directing, and poetry, arts and education. And then when you step into the music side, like, I've been doing this for a while. I know how to put words together and sound dope. I know how to be a lyricist. Like, respect the pen, respect the mind, respect the heart, respect the passion. And just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I'm less than, or I can't handle certain things. Like, man, I come from the hood. I can handle a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that in general, I've been treated unfairly, if I, may say so myself. But here's the thing. I grew up surrounded by opposition. I grew up in some tough circumstances that I had to learn how to deal with and to cope with. Is it okay? No, it's not okay. And do I accept it? No, I don't accept it. I learned to be firm. So if you're coming against me with some disrespect, I'm gonna put my foot down and speak up for myself. You know what I'm saying? So in those circumstances, I feel like as women, we just need to speak up.
Absolutely.
If I need certain things, I need to speak up. But I'm not talking about speak up in the sense of, like, oh, you just treated me like blah, 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 blah. Or, however the case is, like, I can still be professional and still give me the respect I deserve,
There you go.
So yes, have I dealt with, different opposition or what have you? Yes. In both sectors, I would say so. In the Christian hip hop space, I really can't say, like, I always have this question, like, I really can't say that directly I've been in circumstances where I've been mistreated by men. I can't really say if I've always felt protected.
That's good.
I've always felt like respected in circumstances. Now, I think that has to do with how I carry myself as well. You know what I'm saying? So it could be that, but I definitely get it in the
professional.
the other side. And I don't want to say in the professional realm as if music isn't professional, because it's a business as well. So
I got you.
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, if you find yourself in a circumstance where you feel like you're being mistreated because of whatever the case is, whether it be age, whether, I get mistreated, I know, because I look young, period. I know that. I walk into a space, I look like I'm a little kid.
They be like, where's she going? The CEO of who?
I already know I know, because people say it, like, oh, I thought you were a student. I'm a professor at a university. And so I could get treated certain ways on campus.
Yeah.
With colleagues, just not knowing, like, oh, I thought you were a student. I'm sorry. Well, you should treat everyone with respect. It's human first, regardless.
Absolutely.
Don't treat me less than because you thought I was a student. Treat me like I needed to be treated because I'm a human.
There you go.
But, that's a whole nother thing.
No, you're right. You're right. And that's in all, like you said, that's in all sectors of life, especially as a CEO. And that's amazing that you are a young female black CEO. I love that in general. So I'm applauding you on that. But I mean, you're like, so you're award winning, you've got all these accolades as well. You're a mom, wife, entrepreneur. How do you handle all this? Like God has literally made room for your gifts. And how do you balance all these things?
Man, I'm learning every day to pay attention. I
Yeah.
think that at the end of the day, it's all about paying attention to what habits you're creating, understanding what your foundation is going to be. I'll say this, like, when I really sat and thought about, like, what do I want my life to say? What do I want my legacy to be? It's that I ignited thought and expanded perspectives. And then I also made sure I thought, like, okay, what are my values and my beliefs? What is it that matters the most? What are my priorities? My family and my faith.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, making sure that I allot time to those things that hold priority in my life. The minute where I begin to realize that, oh shoot, I'm not spending as much time with my family as I should,
Yeah.
then I need to adjust. I think it's all about paying attention to self, having a good idea and understanding of self, reminding constantly of your foundation. And honestly, what's keeping me together is my faith
Yeah.
in God, making sure that I spend time in the word, making sure I'm praying, making sure I'm honest and vulnerable with myself and in prayer. And I'm not trying to like make excuses for habits that are going to lead me off course to what I said
Yeah.
that I wanted to achieve. So I think it's a matter of that. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. I'm striving towards perfection. I'm trying every day to do better than I did yesterday. I'm in competition with yesterday's self. So
Yes.
every day I'm trying to just be better, do better. So it's a constant balancing act that, I'm learning, every day.
I love it. I love that. I'm gonna take that. Getting I'm competing with yesterday's stuff. I love it because every day we're trying to get better. So absolute man, I love that.
Right. When you start to shift, when you
Yeah.
start to shift your competition and not think about other people
Mm.
as being competition, because what happens when you feel like, oh, I'm on a higher scale than everybody around me? I feel
Yeah.
like you become complacent.
Mm.
But if I'm in competition with yesterday's self, knowing that like I'm not perfect, like I'll be making mad mistakes and
No,
doing
we are.
things that like, dad, I should have, showcased more patience there. Oh, my tone wasn't great when I was dealing with my daughter, or my tone wasn't great when I was dealing with my husband. Like, oh, I should have probably focused on this. Like, that's yesterday. So, okay, that if that's what I put out in the world, then today's self is in competition with yesterday. So
Yeah.
today, I'm going to extend more patience. Today, I'm going to pay attention to my tone. Now, how do I do that? I make sure I apply the principles that are within the Bible, seeking first to understand, then to be understood. But that's more translated like slow to speak, quick to listen.
Listen, right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's Proverbs.
That
So I
is.
have to continue to apply those things. And then what's the ultimate test? The fruit.
Mm.
Looking at your fruit. Are the
Absolutely.
fruits being showcased? You know what I'm saying? Are the fruits being showcased? And if they are, cool. But you could probably do better. You always have
Always do
room for
better.
improvement. So that's why I say, like, be in competition with your yesterday self so that you can increase your value.
Absolutely. You're definitely a professor because you up here. I'm telling you, you up here preaching and teaching. You're
Yeah.
doing both. So you do photography. You're CEO and creative director of Get Focused. Like, what came first? Was it rap or photography, or did
It
they
was
buy?
definitely the art of writing
Okay.
that came first. And then in my teens, I learned about this space called SEPA Gallery. And
Hmm.
I was about 15 and I was dealing with a lot of like low self-esteem, identity issues, just a lot of things happening. So, you know how you have after school programs and
Yeah.
community programs? Well, there was a program called Yo Buffalo. And through this program, they created opportunities for young people to learn about various types of things. The thing that really was interesting to me was the arts. And so I signed up for the photography class. And when I went into this photography dark room, or the dark room, I fell in love with that process of blank photographic paper going through the chemical process so that you can see a photo. Like, it did something to me. And I think it was like when I have the camera, I'm in control.
Yeah.
There's no labels. Because remember, I said, like, growing up, I was labeled a failure to thrive. Growing up, they said that I was diagnosed as emotionally handicapped. But with that camera and with that pencil, there's no labels.
Yeah.
I'm the conductor of the craft. You know what I'm saying? I have the control in this situation, and I'm able to showcase, what's on the inside. I think art is like the soul's language.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So yeah, about 15. I was about 15. So I've been in it for some years without giving my age away. I've been a long time.
That's all right. You look young. We're gonna say you young. We're gonna keep it right there.
Yeah. I'm 18,
no
you know what I'm saying?
It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? I got 2 kids. I'm 18. I'm married. Like, that would be crazy, right?
They be like, let me pull out my calculator.
Like, wait, hold on real quick. Like, your son 14. Hold on, let me calculate this. This don't make no sense. Nah.
I love it though, but you said something with that blank paper and the chemical process. I feel like that's how God redeems us. Like, we're just blank, and when we meet him, I feel like we go through we metamorphosize into something that he is. So I love it, man. You have said something. Absolutely. Like that. Absolutely.
It's like that chemical process is like sanctification.
Yes.
You're going through this renewal process. And as you continue to go through like if you did, darkroom work, that paper that you expose to light is blank under the without that process. You have to go through the process to find out and identify what the end result is going to be.
Absolutely.
And so that's how I look at it.
Yeah, you own it. I mean, I'm not gonna say you own something. You own something. I love it. So, what is Get Focused all about? So, I know that you give back a lot too. So, give us a little back history on that as well.
Yeah, so Get Focused Productions is a creative media company, and 3 things: capture, teach, give back. Capture through photography and film. So we are capturing stories, project-based stories. We deal with content creation, really thinking human first. How can we best tell your story and support you and your vision and what you're trying to do with your brand? That's capture. Teach. I love educating young people, old people, seasoned people. I don't care what kind of people. Just teaching individuals about how important the arts is when it's coupled with education. It's very important. Kind of went out a little bit.
No, you good.
Arts and education is very important. I believe that it does a lot. It does a lot for an individual. Having the arts base and like creativity, creative problem solving allows you to be a better employer and a better employee, a lot of things, but that's the teach. So I do it in multiple different ways. The give back portion is every contract that I receive, a portion of the proceeds of the contract goes to the side, and I invest in young people, whether it be mentorships, whether it be pulling them on board to do projects within the company, or I'm creating a customized, volunteer project for them based off of what they're trying to do in their life. Whatever the case is, I'm trying to help young people reach their potential through the creative arts.
I love it. I absolutely love that. I love reaching back, especially I just love reaching back with young women as well, because what they see now in the media and all that. And that's why I love your raps, and I love your lyricism, because, nowadays it's all sex appeal. And when it's on TV, and then you have dope rappers out like Rhapsody, but they don't get the time. Like they don't get like you had to,
time of day. She deserves it.
Man, absolutely, she does. So I just love that you give back in general, and that young women can see you're giving back. They can see that you're educated. They can see that you're a CEO. They can see that you're also a lyricist. You can do all these things through Christ. So I just love what you represent in whole and in general.
God
So
made me creative.
hey, come on now.
I have no choice.
Come
I'm living it out.
on. Yes, yes. So let's talk about this album, Soul Acrylic. Man, it's dope. I see you got a new video out for Choices.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yes. Gotta find ways to keep life into these projects. So Soul's Acrylic dropped. Oh man. Oh, I don't know. I don't even remember what year that dropped. You know, that pandemic really did something. We lost like 20 years now.
Yes, we did. I'm trying to tell you, I forget it's 2022. I don't know what year it is.
I want to say it dropped in 2020, either 2020 or 2021, but it's a year old. It's a year old. I really just wanted to showcase the different aspects of who I am. My family is ingrained in this project. I went so far as to create a color palette, and every color represented someone within my family or something that meant something to me. Like my daughter has one of the colors, and my son is a color. My husband is a color. My mom who adopted me is a color. And so I went that route, but the content, the main thing was to showcase like I am walking out this artistic creative process through Christ. And each track is an opportunity for me to paint a portrait so you can get to know me as an entrepreneur, you know, with facts. I talked about, you know, what I do as an entrepreneur and how I'm trying to give back. Not trying, I'm giving back.
You get your right.
As a mom, you know, I talked about that on one of the tracks. As a wife, I talked about that. I talked about my adoptive mom, my mom. Just these different, I talked about my brother and the different issues and that go about when it deals with him. You know, I just wanted to speak on things that are true, things that are meaningful, and just talk about real life. I think we need that, right?
Yes.
Talking to the grown women, the entrepreneurs. I would love to have more real life music. Like everybody not going to the club.
No, especially when you know we get a little.
People gotta work all day. They don't feel like going to the club. People got kids.
Them say we get over 30. That club scene is like, ooh, that gets that couch scene.
You go to the club, you ready to go home.
Yeah, like they still play the same music.
Everybody not out here doing like. I respect the music that allows you to kind of escape reality. Yes. I understand that. I respect music that gives you an opportunity to create moods with your love, you know, your partner, what have you. I understand all of that, but I feel like it's oversaturated. Like, okay, like everybody's not doing that all day. Like, I want to hear about how to handle myself and restrain myself when I get upset with an employee or an employer, or how do I handle issues when it comes to like friendships, and when they go sour or south, how do I regain that friendship? Like, talk about real stuff so that we can grow and develop as regular people. But that's what I've been tapping on within Soul's Acrylic. And so just anticipate anytime I'm creating music, it's coming from a space of like, yo, I want to uplift and I want to talk about real stuff that people can relate to.
Absolutely.
It's practical Christian, and like walking out practical Christianity. Like, it's practical. It's not really, it doesn't need to be all of this like extra stuff, you know? It's just real life.
I think we forget that sometimes as Christians too, whether we're being creative or in church, we forget that it's practical. I mean, you live in a practical life. It's just, it's not that hard. I mean, it's challenging. Don't get me wrong, but it's real practical. We make it so in depth that people get intimidated by Christianity, and it should not be something that you get intimidated by. So, I
mean, everybody being extra with the extra words, and
yes,
I get that too. I get theology. I understand that, and apologetics. I understand all of those things, but at the bare minimum, what did Jesus always talk about when he walked around and was telling stories and parables? He talked about farming.
Yes, he did.
Why?
He did.
Because people understood it. When he talked about the sower and the seed, people understood what he was saying because, we relate to that.
Yes.
And in times where he was talking about things that were a little bit beyond, he would try to use parables for you to understand. And so just think of the music that I'm creating as parables. I'm just trying to speak from my experiences and my perspectives and sharing it. I'm just sharing my life with y'all.
That's it.
And showcasing like my flaws at times and my mishaps, but also my triumphs, my challenges, but also my successes, because that's life, So I think, we got to stop. We got to stop making it so extra.
Yeah, Christians, we extra sometimes. So
you know what I'm saying? Wake up in the morning, or they be at church and they get up for their testimony. Lord, I just want to let y'all know that this morning God just tapped my shoulder. And he said, "Arise, young woman." And I woke up, thank the Lord. And then I tapped my alarm clock. Don't you know Jesus was in my alarm clock? And he allowed it to open up. Like, come on now. What we doing?
Girl, that was Alexa.
What we doing?
But
right. Like, come on. You set it up. Like, come on. I'll be trying to think, like, how is God dealing with that? Like sitting there like y'all know y'all lying.
I woke you up, but I didn't do all that extra. I woke you up. You did the rest.
I did not reach down and tap your shoulder. You need to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, calm it down. Just regular. We regular people trying to live the best that we can. What's beautiful in this walk of life is that we have the truth. We have the canon. We have the Bible to guide us through circumstances. If we read the Bible, it's just regular people doing foolishness.
That's it, regular people.
Just broken people doing foolishness and learning from those things and trying to develop and grow.
That's it. And that's what we're doing to this day. I tell people, don't put your pastors on pedestal. They're still men. They're still people. We are just people. We're just regular people.
That's one of the issues. You put people on a pedestal when they start to do things that go against what your beliefs are, then you start like, oh my God, you questioning yourself.
Yes.
But if you keep your eyes on the keeper, that's it. And not necessarily the person who stands in as the leader, the keeper of your soul, that's Christ. That's God.
There you go.
Keep your eyes on that, because that does not change. That's solid.
He is a constant. So I think we forget that, though. That is, we definitely forget that as people. So you said something right there. We are men. We're just regular people. We are regular people. We know God, Christ, and we know He made the ultimate sacrifice. Like, we just have somebody take our issues too, and like you said, we know the truth. That is the biggest difference of everything. We just regular people.
Right. Listen, that's it.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it. So before I let you go, man, what's some advice you give to a young lady, because you're all these things, to be her own creative self? What would you tell a young lady?
The first things first, you got to be honest with yourself and allow yourself to experience your own vulnerability first. Take time to develop and learn yourself. Like, be friends with you. Learn and get to know yourself and stop sugarcoating stuff and making excuses about you, and really take time to learn about you. I would say, like, Christianity, that choice that you have is such a beautiful choice to make, such a development of self. If you were to follow the principles of the Bible, such a beautiful journey to take, but it's a very difficult one. And so I will also say, learn how to have restraint. Restraint is the key. A lot of times in this society, because everything is so quick, you got social media, things right at your fingertips. Everybody's sharing their emotions, whether it's high or low. I feel like when I scroll through social media, it's like, y'all got a lot of you're happy one moment, you're sad, you're angry, but such is life, such is humanity.
True.
But have restraint. Understand when and where to say certain things. Understand when to share and when not to share. Really, really travel and move with restraint. Those are some things that I would say. And as far as creativity goes, like, learn how to develop your craft and be professional. It's okay to be professional. And so the way you do that is find somebody that's doing it the way that you would like to do it. Absolutely. Don't feel intimidated by them. Just learn something, teach something, make a stack, right? So you have to identify the people that you're going to look up to and develop, like, okay, I like how they do that. How does that work within my realm? Yes. I'm not saying be like them. I'm not saying do the things that they're doing, because that might not work for what you're doing. But at least, like, look and extract the things that you feel makes what they're doing move smoothly, and try to see how does that work if you implement it into your space. Yeah. And don't be afraid to share your creativity. It's okay. There's so much more that I can say, but I'll leave it at that. Like, really learn of yourself, be vulnerable with yourself, learn how to develop restraint, and continue to be creative, but be professional. Those are the three things I'll say.
Absolutely. I love that self-reflection piece. I don't think we don't self-reflect enough, or we'll look at other people like, I don't know what they're doing. They got a problem. Yeah. Sometimes you have a problem. Sometimes you have to look within yourself. And I think if we would all look within ourselves, especially as Christians or non-Christians, this would be a better world in general. When you check yourself, as the song say, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Go old school. Yeah, check yourself sometimes. Sometimes you gotta check yourself.
The best thing I did was take a step back, and I was honest with myself. Yes. And I was like, look, I am impatient. I am a perfectionist. Just being real. Yep. Just be real with you. Now, you know how people could, gossip about other people, like, girl, she is so impatient. And you can say all these things about other people. You can identify all the little issues, but you can't identify the issue that you got inside yourself. So when I started to be honest about the things that I did not like about me, I don't want to be that woman. So what do I need to do? Exactly. I need to identify first, I'm so impatient in these moments. Why? Okay, now that I know why, how can I be proactive when certain circumstances come up where I usually would be impatient? How do I exercise patience? Because the only way to get patience is to actually be in circumstances where you have to exercise it. There you go. It's a muscle. So being vulnerable and having self-reflection is very key.
Yeah, it's so key. And sometimes it could go back to childhood. Like, it could just trace back to whatever. It could trace back to trauma. That's why I'm big on therapy. It could trace back. So sometimes you just have to literally self-reflect. Like, we can't control what's happened to us in childhood, all that, but we can control our outcome as we get older. Exactly. And we're responsible for ourselves. So when you say that, I'm like, you done hit on that's a whole nother show.
Man, listen,
whole show in itself. So, man, I appreciate you for stopping by. You have dropped some gems. Tell us how to get your album. Tell us how to follow you and support all the above.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can, social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all of that. I'd say, like, my home base is my website, aitheanomaly.com. You can find me, AI the Anomaly, on social media platforms. If you really want to take a deeper dive, I am on Patreon. You can work to support in different ways, and that monetary support helps me support youth. I'm sorry, somebody's calling me while I'm on here. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
But helping me in that regard allows me to help the youth in my community. So that's one way. Another way to support is to just continue to keep me in prayer. Absolutely. Continue to keep me in prayer, and just, my company's page is Get Focused Productions. Focus is spelled FOKUSD. You can follow me in that space, and if you want to book me, go right on my website.
aitheanomaly.com. She's professional because everything is the same. Some people be like, AI, oh, yo, it's me. They be having all type of different Instagram, Facebook. Yikes. I love it. It is straight across the board, y'all. Professionalism.
Got to be.
Oh man, well, I appreciate you. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Again, it's been absolutely a pleasure to have you on the mixtape. We must have you again, y'all. It's AI the Anomaly. Make sure y'all go follow her and get that
Thank you.
Souls acrylic. Y'all be
Absolutely.
blessed. Wiki Wiki, the mixtape podcast with your girl DJ Miss Eclectic.